Hi everyone, welcome to Hilltop View Journals. Today I am hoping to get back into my Junk Journal with Me series, and along with that I am happy to announce that I'm joining Sweet Pea Curiosities design team. So I have got one of her lovely digital kits to work with over the next couple of weeks. And I've made a couple of glassine bags which I will show you further on in the video, but I've been busy fussy cutting some of Sweet Pea Curiosities' lovely kit here, and you will have seen this in my last video. And whilst I've been looking at this beautiful digital kit, I've been thinking, how can I make some different journals? So this is mainly Moments Pressed in Time digital kit, but I've also cut out some of Marisa's lovely ephemera kits as well, and all the information will be listed in the description box below. So how many journals could the main kit inspire? That's the question I've been asking myself. And if you're anything like me, you've probably got a collection of beautiful digital or vintage papers and fabrics you've been saving for the perfect project. And you might even have a pile of unfinished journals waiting for the day that you finally got enough time to complete them. And I love looking at all the gorgeous chunky journals that we all admire. But with a full-time job, short supply of energy and limited crafting time, I've been wondering, how can I make beautiful journals that I can actually finish? So that question is the inspiration behind my forthcoming videos. And rather than make one large journal with the kit that I have chosen, which is Moments Pressed in Time, I'll be exploring different journal structures, different styles, different ways to use the same featured kit. And I'll be adding coordinating papers, vintage ephemera, so real vintage ephemera, and obviously faux vintage ephemera from digital kits, and embellishments from the same designer and also from my stash, and showing how just a few thoughtful additions can completely transform the look and feel of a finished journal. And I'm hoping that the coming videos in this series will inspire you to look at your own papers and supplies and how you use them and how they can inspire you. So I'm hoping that you're not going to need weeks and weeks to create something beautiful, because life doesn't allow us to do that quite often, yet we do still really want to make beautiful journals. And sometimes all you need is a couple of hours on a Sunday afternoon, your favourite junk journal supplies, and the inspiration to begin. So for the first project, I've chosen something I'm hoping that's going to be fairly easy to follow along. And it's a glassine bag journal, and it's been inspired by a Trace of Sparkle. So the video by Trace of Sparkle that inspired me will be in the description box. And what I've tried to do is I created a prototype. So this is using the Moments Pressed in Time blue kit, and I'll do a quick flip through in a second. But in this video, what I'm hoping to do is show you how I made this. And I've used the same kit, but I've just chosen different images from it and different ways of placing the kit in the journal. And this isn't fully finished. You'll see a flip through at the end of the video, and there will be a part 2 to this available as soon as this one goes live, so you don't have to wait, where I make the ephemera that's already in this journal. The video will be just a little bit too long if I try to incorporate it all into the same journal. But let's do a flip through of this one now, which is a little bit more finished. I think I've got 1 or 2 pages left to do, but this was the first one I did, and I really enjoyed making this. I made it in the junk journal retreat that I went to with Rachel and Bella Crafts, and I also made several other Glassine bag journals as well, and gave them away as gifts. And you can see that previous video in the link in the description box. So you can see here that I've used labels from Marisa, and I've also used the Moments Pressed in Time images there. And I love this blue. It's so vintagey, and I don't know what's the word. It's just a little on the rustic, grungy sort of spectrum. So yeah, and I've got some lovely ephemera that I purchased off Etsy that I can use with this as well. And I didn't actually record the making of this. I did it all in the retreat and just had a whale of a time sitting there playing with this Glassine bag that makes this gorgeous sound when you play with it. I just adore it. So, and the Glassine bag I'm going to show you today to make has got exactly the same structure to it, but obviously I've just used different parts of the kit. So you can see here, this is an original postcard, and I didn't really like the image on the postcard, so I covered that with a page from the kit. And then I've got a little doodle and a very simple cluster there. And I've done exactly the same with this journaling card. I've covered the front, and then we've got a lovely vintage postcard on the back. And these two postcards were from the retreat that I attended and were giving out freely, so I was very happy about that. Got just a little bit of a cluster here, just some fabrics and a little bit of bling. And then that's one of the background pages from the Moments Pressed in Time kit by Marisa. And again, background page by Sweet Pea Curiosities, Marisa. And I've made a simple tag. And then I filled this with ephemera from my own personal collection, and this is personal ephemera, so this is a little bit morbid perhaps, but this is I think it's my yes, it's my grandfather actually, and it's about the cemetery where he's buried in Margate in Kent. So that's gone in there. So I'm using this journal to store keepsakes, personal keepsakes. So that goes in there in a lovely little pocket. And here then, this is just such a treasure. This is page 1 of a letter that my grandmother wrote to my grandfather during the war. And it's just lovely just to see her writing. And then it's just a little text spot here with elements from the kit. Here's the envelope. Oh, it's one of the, sorry, no, it's one of the envelopes actually that I got from my grandmother's, I was going to call it stash then, but you know, from my grandmother's personal belongings. So that was her address years ago. So I just popped that in there with a very simple belly band from an offcut. And here again, I've got some images from the kit, and I made a little journaling card. This is from my youngest uncle, who sadly passed away a couple of months ago, and it's his immunisation record back in Essex. And I found this in my grandmother's personal belongings as well, so obviously she was collecting paper cuttings during the war. So that goes in there. And this is just a faux postcard from Sweet Pea Curiosities, and I just liked the fact that it was blank. I love that. You could do so much to it. And then it's just a little bit of scrap from the kit. That's a page that I can decorate or do whatever I want to. And then this is National Registration Identity Card, and it's my grandmother's, and it just shows all her addresses. And I just thought that that went lovely with with the kit colours. And here I've got some more images from the kit. And this is a faux letter. And I've just folded it, well, sorry, it's more like a faux ledger. That's what I was trying to think of, faux ledger page. And I folded it just to suit how I wanted it to go behind the belly band. And then I can just pop these in there as well. Just peeking out. So it looks a little bit like a pocket, but I didn't want to secure those down because then you wouldn't be able to open it out. And of course you can have some journaling space in the back. Got a page to complete there and a page to complete there. Another blank page, and here I've got another envelope addressed to a family member, which I believe is my grandfather when he was in Paddington. But what I love of this is there's a handwritten letter from my eldest uncle, and dear mummy, hurry up and get better, love from David and Leslie. So obviously my grandmother was ill at the time. And then this is the front cover of a French book that was given to me by a friend, dear friend, who's living out in France. And again, the colours just went really nicely with the kit. And here I've created a hidden paperclip. And this is an insurance document, which is really interesting, especially as I'm dealing with a lot of insurance matters in work at the minute. And yeah, so I don't get things like this anymore, but it's so lovely. And I think this was for my grandmother, Patricia Puddyfoot. It's quite an unusual name. So I've included that. And I've just got a little bit of music paper there. And then that just clips on like that there. And these are images from Sweet Pea Curiosities kit. It's just a page for me to decorate. I can decorate that page. This is part 2 of that lovely handwritten letter. And it is a poem, a promise. And it says, although my darling, we are far apart, this message I send from deep down in my heart. You'll always know that I love you with a love that is strong and true. And in my heart, my darling, my longing seems in vain, but I know that someday soon our lips will meet again. Although I am far across the blue, soon, dearest one, I'll come home to you. We'll have a house just meant for two, those two, my darling, are me and you. So that's lovely, isn't it? So I've just got a fabric belly band there, and then I've made a sort of scrappy tag. And I found this French money in the French book that I had from my friend. Again, this is the back of the French book. Again, I just love the colour. So I wanted to keep it safe, so that's going to go in there as well. Like that. And then I've left the back blank for now. May decorate it, may not, not too sure. But that is my first Glassine bag journal. So I hope you'll join me now to see how I made this one. I bought these Glassine bags off Amazon, and I will leave the link in the description box. And they're about, if you just exclude this part here, which is the top, the sticky top, they're about 9.5 inches, which is 23.5 centimetres, by 16.5 centimetres and 6.5 inches. So that's the size. They are quite large. And what I did learn on this one is I think they are a little bit out of kilter in terms of dimensions. So I'm going to make this next one slightly smaller, and I'll be folding that back. So it's going to be this size. So let's measure that. So just to give you an example, so it'll be folded back like that. So that takes it back to about 9.5 inches, which is about 24 centimetres, I think, something like that, 23.5 centimetres. So when this is folded, that's the size it's going to look like. And if you're looking for alternatives, you could go for wet strength tissue paper and make the glassine, you know, the faux glassine bag, and we could do that now. You could use, and you've got the crinkle, the lovely crinkle for that one. You could use calligraphy paper. You won't get such a sharp crinkle, but you've got the translucency of it, so that's perfect as well. Alternatively, you could go for cereal bags. So this is the inside of cornflakes. That would work well, and you've definitely got the crinkle. Or another thing you could try is you can get tracing paper on a roll, and it's quite thin. And again, this gives you the crinkle, and you can use this in so many different ways. I love this stuff. Great for mark making. Alternatively, you could use deli paper, which is probably the closest to the glassine bag. I'm sure the glassine bags are made from deli paper. I haven't got any to show you though, unfortunately, so I can't give you an example. But I think deli paper would work really well. Whether you can get it big enough to make a glassine bag size, I really don't know. So I'm just going to try and get this into a state where I can cut it. It's quite tricky because it's rather large. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking, ooh, this would make a brilliant zine, the size it is. So let's just cut that first. I can get it down to a manageable size. Let's cut it this way as well. And let's grab that piece there. Hopefully I haven't cut it too small. I probably have. No, hold on, it's no, yes, it's okay. Yeah. I think it'll do. So if I was going to make this, I would simply fold it in half. Let's get the measurement. Draw a line so I can cut it a bit straighter. I mean, that is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Couldn't get more wonky. I'll have a look at the way this is made. So it looks like it's glued on 3 sides, which I guess for a bag that keeps maybe a little bit of liquid in it, it's probably sealed to make sure it doesn't leak, but we're not doing anything like that, so we don't have to be so exact. I'll try and square this off. Check me out, measuring. I hope you're impressed. So hopefully that's about the size. Yeah. And then just fold it along here. And it's up to you whether, I think I would do a lip because I think it'll be a little bit more solid. So you lose a bit of the size, but you're not going to lose much. So with this, I would just take a little bit off here, a little bit off there. And then you want to cut the excess one, which is here. So if you can see that bit there I don't need. So I'm going to chop that off. So it's the inside of it. And that's your glassine bag. And I think I'm just going to glue it up. The thing is, by the time you finish with the journal, I think you won't see the edges anyway, especially if you're going to stitch. So this is a nice alternative if you've got some tissue paper. Wet strength is better all round really because you can do so much more with it, but normal tissue paper will work. There we go. Who knew the difference? You've only just got something shiny, and you lose the shine with the coffee stain anyway, so you're not gaining anything by having the shine, really. So you could then just fold it, and then you've got your base. And it's lovely and flimsy, and you've still got that crinkly sound. And people wouldn't be the wiser, I don't think. So here we go. That's an alternative. Let's start by coffee dyeing the glassine bag. I've got a couple here. One of them I'm going to scrunch up and see what happens when I coffee dye it. The rest I'm just going to coffee dye. Have some stash ready when I want to make more of these because they are pretty addictive once you get going. So I've got quite a strong coffee solution here, and it is pretty messy. So all I do is paint the coffee on, and you want to avoid the sticky bit. And you also want to try and keep this part open. So, I mean, it goes on really dark, but it dries pretty light. So you can see there, it does sink in quite a bit. And I am going to mop it up a little bit, I think. Otherwise it will be dripping all over my floor, and I don't want that. So if I just mop up the excess. And we'll see what that one looks like. Just pop it there for a second, and then another one. You've probably got enough coffee then underneath you. So I'm just using an old plastic file folder. So I wouldn't soak these in coffee. I think just painting them is good enough. I tend to do that with paper anyway. I rarely soak my paper these days. I just paint it on. Just seems to be a lot easier. So there's 2 done. So I'm just going to hang these up to dry now. And as soon as they're dry, we'll be back to do the next part. I want to use this image for the front. So I'm going to cut it, which is a shame, but has to be done. And I want to create a frame around it. And what I thought I would do, and this is shock horror because I never do it, is I thought I'd emboss the frame. See if that works. And I'm going to use a blank one here while I'm waiting for my coffee to dry. It's taking forever. Well, it feels like forever. It's not forever, but it just feels like it. Now that's too big. So I need to cut this down. So let's maybe make it a little less taller, first of all. And then I probably could go that wide. It's not very wide. I think it's going to look odd if I leave that there. Although I do like it. Let's try it with it on first. Oops. I'm probably going to have to cut it off. And I was thinking what might be good for making frames, if you haven't got any watercolour paper or thick paper, the offcuts of book pages I thought would work really well, I should say, on this. So I may emboss some of these as well. Okay, yeah, I think that's an okay size. So we'll cut that little piece off. We'll keep those there, put that out of the way there. So we've got our image, and then I've got my watercolour paper here. So what I need to do is make a hole that is smaller than these lines. And I think the easiest thing first is to actually get the frame. So I'm going to use my cutting mat with this marks. And draw, obviously this isn't going to be exact, but it'll be okay. This is the beauty of handmade. Okay, so my frame is going to have to come over the edge of this. Hopefully by the time I finish this now you'll see what I mean. I hope I'm coming across like I know what I'm doing. I genuinely don't know what I'm doing. But it'd be nice to know if I do look like I know what I'm doing. There's probably an easier way of doing this as well, but for now, that's what I'm doing. So I need to cut inside there. So let's just make a line so I can follow it. Like that, and that should be enough of a gluing point for me to have to stick it to the back of the frame. Pop my scissors there out the way because they're annoying me, and let's go in for the cut. Okay. That looks okay. And then we can cut these lines then and get the frame out. Got a bit of a cut there, but by the time I grunge it up, it'll be fine. And then if I put that on there, like that, still taking up quite a bit, but it's a much better size. I could always make the frame smaller, of course, but I think I will emboss it as it is and see what it looks like. I don't know what it is, but I really don't enjoy embossing, so I did that off camera. I will include a link to a tutorial by Ruby and Pearl, I think it is, and she shows how she does her embossing, which is amazing. And one of her tips is, if you're using thin book pages, is to add tissue paper on the back, which will give it more strength. Because as you can see, it's starting to rip there with the force of the impression. Not so bad on this one. But here is the lovely bit of watercolour paper, cheap watercolour paper I might add. And I'm going to ink the inside before I stick it down. I may change the colour of the frame. We'll see how it goes. I've got a piece of plastic here, it's come from some packaging. So I thought what I'd do is I'd stick that down first. And I'll mark where I need to cut. It's not working. Let's have a look here. Let's cut this straight first. I think what I'll do is glue it on. You could use any type of plastic you've got. This isn't the best quality, but it will work in a pinch. Okay, and then I can pop that in there. And what I want to do is use a bit of washi tape, because I always ooze the glue on the plastic. And it's highly irritating. And it makes a real mess. So I think if I just pop some washi in place, check the position, that'll probably be a better idea. Yep, I think that's working. So depending on what I put on the background, I'll then decide on whether I want to colour this or not, and also the size. It may be that I put it sort of somewhere middle-ish, and it'll be slightly covered, but that's all right. But those are decisions I can make at a later date. And I can use these to see what a darker colour would look like. And I think a darker colour would be nice. So you quite easily use your book pages. If I just, let me just stick that in place a second. Oh, I'm losing bits. See, that looks quite nice, that colour. So that's another option. So we'll keep those, and then we'll just go and check to see if our glassine bags are dry. Got a couple of examples now. So these ones I dried indoors, and I made sure that this was left open and clear when I hung it up. And you can see they're quite uniform in their colour. So that's the difference between the glassine bag, and you do actually lose the shine. You can see there. I've got a couple of bit of hairs stuck there, sorry. So those are those ones. That's the crumpled up one, which I think looks really nice. Then I dried one outside and I left the coffee pool. When you leave the coffee pool, it does tend to stick the other side together. So if you can see here, I've got a bit of a hole. It's absolutely fine. You just stick a bit of washi on that and it'll be fine. And of course, it's stuck together here as well. So again, got a little bit of a rip where I had to get my hand in there. But you can see how grungy that looks. Bit too grungy for this project, but I do like it. So I think I'll probably use the crumpled up one, I think. And if I fold this in half now, and if that is coming over like that, so that's how it'll look, and I quite like it white actually. So I'm going to leave it white. I'm going to make the edges really dark. So I'm using ground espresso. So this is really, really dark. And I do probably need to add some glue on the plastic on the edge here. But I quite like that. I think that looks really nice. And I'm thinking lace or dried flowers or fussy cut that butterfly out, because I think that would look lovely. And what I'm trying to do is go for the sepia look. Very understated, maybe a little bit shabby chic, that type of thing. So I don't know, you can see in the camera there, you can see my lights, unfortunately. Sorry if they're shining bright on the TV screens as you watch this, or your iPads, or your Android pads, etc. But I think it can be difficult to get the focal image sorted when you're making a journal cover. It always stops me in my tracks. So I'm glad that I've got that sorted and now I can work around it. I'm not very confident working with lace, particularly when it's very pretty lace, but I thought I'm going to give it a go. And what I'm thinking is if I can just layer up some of this lace, a bit like a collage. It's important that you don't go over this edge here because it will interfere with the journal opening and closing. So what I want to do is put some pieces of lace down lay them up. And what I've also done, oh, let me show you. So I've turned the journal around so that the fold is there, the inside pocket is there, and then this flap is on this side. So I hope that you can see that now. Okay, let's put these back. So I'll put that there. And that there. Yeah, I think there's an art to using lace, and yeah, I haven't got it. So I'm going to, I think it's going to have to go in the middle. Maybe not middle all the way around, but I think it will have to, either side, go in the middle. And I've got some of this like greyish lace, which is really pretty, which I'd like to just sort of drape. I do like the different colours of the lace, so it's not all white. Got some cream. So I was thinking something like that. That's kind of what I was thinking. I've got room to put something there. And then this would fold over, and I would have something either like that coming over. That might work well actually, and then I can fold it on the other side. So it is quite, it's quite girly, isn't it? I have got loads of grungy lace here that I'm tempted to use, but I might just hold this up. It's kind of not doing it for me really, I have to say. It's a bit too neat, if that makes sense. I can tell a faffing session is coming, and I know I'm going to faff. Totally out of my comfort zone here. I'm sorry that the light is showing. I think I kind of prefer that, but maybe, I don't know. Oh dear, this is going to be really hard. Let's grab that butterfly. Let's work with something a little bit more in my comfort zone for a second. I'm just going to fussy cut this out. I was thinking something like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to just stick some of these down and make a little bit of a commitment. So I think if I can glue that in place, so I'm going to make like a little messy element around the frame. I forgot what I was going to say then. So it sort of goes, you know, something like that. So that's there like that. So we've got a bit of grunge. And then I was going to do that with a butterfly. I like that. So I think I need to cut some of these off. I think I'm going to need my glue gun. But I did wonder if I could stitch that. Yes, I'm going to go and stitch that, I think. Should be straight back. I know I've stitched it with black. I hear you scream. But it just seemed the right thing to do on the butterfly. I don't think that thread is going to want to stay there. I probably would have been better off hand stitching this, I think. My stitching's gone a bit awry as well, unfortunately. I've sort of stitched off to the side of the butterfly rather than where it should be in the middle. Anyway, let's get it down. Okay. Hopefully that'll stay put there like that. It does look a bit odd. Okie dokie. Let's see what I can do with this now then. So if I want that there layered, Then I don't really need so much fabric behind it. Yet I need it there. So what I want to do is cut this with plenty to spare. So we'll go like that. And then I'll just have that on the other side. That's what I'm thinking. So if I, again, I'm not saving much, but it's kind of stretching out the fabric a little bit. And then what I can do is pop that under there. I just find it really difficult. Oh, really, really difficult. There, that'll do. That will just have to do, I think. I just don't know how to, like, finish these off so that they look not like they're cut. Like, I don't know how to finish this off here. I'll just cut it and see. I may even put a label or something there, perhaps. Or even actually, what I might do, well, how does that look? See, that doesn't look right there if I cover it. I think what I'll do is taper that across. Wasn't supposed to be so tapered. I think that's the best it's gonna get. I think. Okay. I'm gonna glue these in place. And then if I change my mind, I'll just get another bag. I mean, that's the worst that can happen, isn't it? Even my glue gun is giving up on me. Okay. And did I decide on this one? Yes, I think I did. That one's going to go on the sticky bit. Like that. So, let's measure it first. I'm getting all flustered now. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, I am struggling a little bit. I think it's quite hard to get something to look the way you think it should look. I'm probably not going to be able to get that in there unless I do some serious cutting. So let's get the shape right first. And try not to cut the bag. I bet I'm making some people's teeth chatter with the way I'm cutting this and faffing about and not knowing what I'm doing, but I am trying my best. Now, I want this to be able to flap, so and I also want this open. So the easiest way is to cut it along there, which I think would be a shame. But I can't see how else I can do it. Let's try and cut this a bit more. Okay, I think that works. So I'm going to use my glue stick because I don't want PVA glue to seep through if I can help it. And if I add some to the edges of this as well. And what I will do is when I'm working on this, I'll probably have some lace that will go over that like that. So it kind of be a bit of a hidden pocket. So that's basically it. Doesn't really serve any purpose. Now then, do I want some of this slash lace just to complement it? Oh yes, I really do. Yes, I do. Well, it's on there. And as far as Gump would say, and that's all I have to say about that. Decision made. That's the best I can do, I think. Oof. That was a lot of work for a few small bits of lace. Please tell me this looks okay, because yeah, I think I'll put that in there as well. Put my glue gun back on, see if I can revive it. It's not a happy bunny, it's run out. Battery. Oh, it's not coming on at all now. Two red lights are not a good sign. It's quite a stroppy gun. No, I won't come on. Can I get some glue out of it? Yeah, I can get some glue out of it. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm exhausted. That was a lot of decisions to make, and I still don't know. Well, I mean, I could glue that in place like that, I guess. That would be a waste. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But that's it for now. That is the front cover done, which is the most stressful part for me. And I like that. So if we go back to my original my original Glassine bag, I think it looks quite different. Certainly different colours. Got a touch of blue there, but it's mainly sort of neutral, isn't it? So whether I'll put a label, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But for now, I think I'm quite happy with that. And I'm going to work on the inside, I think, and make sure I get my signature in. And then I can do a little bit more decorating. But this was a big job for me, and I'm glad I got it done. Whilst I was off camera, I have actually added some Nouveau crystal glaze to the butterfly, which will hopefully keep it a little bit more durable. And I've also found this little collection of laces that I purchased from Etsy. I do buy most of my sort of pretty embellishments from local suppliers. So I was going to pop that on just to see what it looks like. I may put a ring on there, but I think that looks nice and doesn't detract from the main images there, and it creates sort of 3 things as well, which obviously is some kind of art theory. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's okay for now. I imagined that this would be a lot more flowing with lace, but there's only so much I can bring myself to do, so I think that's good as it is now. And what I want to concentrate on at this stage is the papers. So I've got a little collection of papers here, mainly plain papers. I've got a bit of fabric that I want to put in there. This is like gauze. And I thought, well, I could always do a little of embroidery, trying to get into embroidery. So I thought I might include that in there. I've got a couple of book pages, nothing much, because I'm mainly going to be writing in this journal. So I did have some music paper. Oh, here we are. I'll put it to the side of me here. So I've got some mulberry paper, sewing pattern paper, some doilies, music paper. And then I've got some tracing paper, piano paper, and a selection of tea-dyed paper, mostly from exercise books, and copier paper. And I've also got some tea-dyed vellum. And there's also some tea-dyed paper here, but this is using cream paper rather than white copier paper. So it's cream copier paper. That's why it's got a sort of different tone to it than, say, this one. This is just plain white that was tea-dyed. So I'm just going to go along now, and I'll probably create a template first so that I know what will fit in the journal, and then I'm just going to rip the pages up. So I'll leave the camera running so that you can see the process, and I'll just sort of zoom out a little bit there. And yeah, so depending on how long it takes, maybe I'll add a little bit of music to this, and we'll see how I get on.
It's been you all along, but I've been too caught up to see it, baby. We can have it all if I just could get myself together. I'm not wasting another minute. If it goes up in flames, I'll take the pain. If I never try to get it, I can just forget it. I'm done playing the waiting game. I'm so done. I'm all done playing the waiting game. Baby, like the stars, I've been a million miles away, but you've been in my heart, somewhere down all this time hidden away. I'm not wasting another without your love. Don't wanna miss one fight. So listen, girl. I'm not wasting another minute. If it goes up in flames, I'll take the pain. If I never try to get it, I can just forget it. I'm done playing the waiting game. I'm so done, yeah. I'm all done playing the waiting game. I'm so done. I'm all done playing the waiting game.
So I think that's a nice size, and let's just have a look how many pages I've got. .24, so 24, and then you times that by 4 then for sides. So that's quite a lot of pages in a journal, and I don't want to be adding too much bulk to this, but I reckon it's probably going to, yeah, get very fat. So my plan is to add the embellishments probably after I do the journaling. And I'm almost thinking now I probably need to take some of this out because I know I'm going to struggle. But I don't want to take anything out once I put it in there. I want to keep it in there. So I guess the answer would be is to keep the embellishments as flat as possible and to a minimum. So let's just go with it. And what I could do is, as I get towards the centre of the journal, I could maybe remove a couple of the pages. So what I'd normally do is decorate the pages before I add them in, before I bind them in. But because I need to be using this fairly quickly, because I'm running out of my current bullet journal, and I want to make a commitment, I think I'm going to bind them in now. And I can always take it loose if I need to. That's what I'm thinking. I've got the flexibility, so I've got my binding kit here and my needles. And I think I do need to actually pop a paper clip in, which will make life a lot easier. Well, a bulldog clip, I think, rather than a paper clip. And what I'll do is, if I do some embellishments for this, then I'll record that separately and share that with you. But depending on how long this video is now, I may do some embellishing before I finish. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just measuring about 3 times the size of the journal. So I'll have some tails left over. I don't think I'll bother measuring. I think I'll just pop the holes in and see where we go. So I think the middle looks about there. A nice big hole there. And a hole there. And a hole there. And I'll just leave all in while I grab my needle, because I never remember to thread the needle before I start stitching. It's a really bad habit of mine. Okay, and then just do a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I've gone in through the middle, out through the side, and I'm going in from the outside on the top one, and I go all the way to the bottom, back out, in through the middle, wiggle pages around because it's always the hardest one to do. And sometimes you just need to feed the needle through. Obviously the more pages you've got, the more fiddly it is. This really doesn't want to go in. I'm just sort of feeding the pages through now as I look at them. Oops, so we've just come out the wrong page there. So if I just go there, and there we are, found the middle. So yeah, don't rush it. Just take your time. And if you make a mistake, you can cover the holes up. And I'm just going to feed them through now so that they're kind of equal. And I'm going to pop one tail on one side and one tail on the other side. That looks about equal. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just do a tie, like a ribbon tie, so I can take it loose if I want to. And that is the journal bound. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've kept making the ephemera separate because I didn't want this video to be too long. So if you want to check out part 2, please go and have a look at the link in the description box. But I'll show you what I've done so far, and in part 2 I will have further ephemera that I will make with everyone, and we can do some crafting together. So this is the front. I've left this little flap as is. I'm still contemplating on what to do with it. I could stick it down, I could use it for the closure. I'm going to leave that open and see what takes my fancy when the time is right. And then as I open this up, I've stuck in a little sentiment there, which I'm going to make a cluster out of. So it's just there to remind me that I need to make it. And then this is one of the pieces of ephemera that we will make in part 2. And I think you'll be interested to see how much I struggled with that. There's some issues with that one. And I will also make this journaling card with you as well. And again, I had issues with this one. So it'd be interesting for you to see my struggles, and a little pocket I made as well, which will be in part 2. And then I want to make a collage here. So I want this journal to be fairly flat. So I don't want to put too many sticky out, protruding embellishments. I want to keep it fairly flat so I can write in it. This is a cutout from the kit, and I've also got a postcard there, so I'm going to make something out of that. Maybe a pocket, maybe a belly band, or a tuck spot, who knows. And again, I could put something there, but I haven't thought about it yet. I've got lots of nice blank space here to write in. And then I want to do something with this image here on this page. Another bit of space that I can play on. And I may do that once I've written in the journal. It often is easier to do things afterwards because then I've still got a nice flat journal to write on when there's nothing bulky going in it. And I'm happy to write on blank pages as well. I enjoy doing that. So I've got a couple more things from Sweet Pea Curiosities ephemera kits there to play with. So that's a tag and a label. Again, I can do something on the back there. Some lovely mulberry paper, lots of tea-dyed paper here. That's the middle. And I'm going to do something with that image. I love this paper. It's tea-dyed copy paper, but it's cream or ivory copy paper. I love that colour. And got some more little bits and pieces to play with there. All from Sweet Pea Curiosities, from Marisa's kits. And coming towards the end now. Lovely image for me to play with. Might create some kind of frame here. Could be a tuck spot. I could make it into a tag. And again, another lovely image. And then this is the other journaling card that I make in part 2. Again, I struggled with that one. And it's in a little pocket there, which I may cover. And then on the back, I want to do something with that image. So far from finished, but I think it is finished enough for you to be able to follow along and make your own glassine journal. And I hope if you don't have glassine bags, then please do try out the alternatives and just use paper. You could scrunch the paper up so it's a little bit more crinkly. So don't be put off by the fact of not having exactly the same as me. Please do try and use exactly what you've got in your stash. And I hope you will go then and have a look at part 2. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.